Hello, deadlings. Welcome back to Exploring the Entity, where killers, survivors, and secrets collide. I'm your co-host, Mark.
And Ducati. On today's episode, we will give you our personal opinions on each killer's best and worst qualities.
We're going to be starting off today with the Trapper. Alright, in my opinion, I gotta say, he doesn't have very many qualities. So, his best is obviously his traps. His worst is, he got nothing else.
For me, I gotta say his best quality is just kind of how, laid back he used to be before he became the Trapper. And then his worst quality has to be how mundane it is to play a match against him.
Or as him.
So, next we're gonna go on to Wraith. My personal opinion, his best one is just how good of an idea and how good of an implementation DBD did with his cloaked power for the game being so new and him being one of the first 4 killers. And his worst quality is that in our current day and age, he feels kind of very boring and very stale for all the cool stuff we got going on.
Alright, quick shoot. Best quality, bing bong. Worst quality, bonk. You get smacked with a lot of pallets. So, but you got your bing bong, so it's just it evens out. It evens out. And now we got Billy. Billy's a fun one. Obviously, high point, chainsaw, low point, impossible to control chainsaw. The casualness.
For me, I would say high point would be he in his own way is kind of cute. He's a cutie patootie. He's a little one there. His worst quality is that there is another very similar killer to him, obviously being the Bubba. And I don't know. I personally feel like Bubba's way funner to play as and against compared to Billy. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, no, you're...
All right, next we have Nurse. Best quality. She has some really, really dope-ass skins. Worst quality. Jesus Christ. This game has been out for almost 10 years, and we still can't fix one of the founding killers of the damn game.
Alright, best quality. Have fun looping. Worst quality. What do you mean I can't teleport through this very teleportable wall? That's crazy.
Honestly, have to add a viewpoint to Nurse. Why is it that we have Nurse in 2v8 with other killers that seem a little bit more fair to have in 2v8, and we have her? No offense. But next up, we're going to go to Myers.
Myers, the high point, insta-kill tier 3. Oh, wait, that's not in the game anymore. That's actually the low point. No more insta-kill. I guess high point is he's a dash killer now.
For me, best, I would say he kind of became cutie. He became more of a cutie compared to obviously him in his original horror film. And worse is why the heck did we absolutely ruin him right before we removed his license just because he's getting his own game? Come on. Other asymmetric horror games don't work. Dead by Daylight has to be the best at its current genre, so can we just leave poor Myers alone, please? Alright, next up we have Hag.
Alright, in all fairness, Hag has literally no high points. But if I had to pick something as a high point, it would be, jump scare. And low point, Hag.
Best quality is that I personally feel like if DVD just put a little bit of brain power to it, she can become a really badass bitch. And low point is just currently, there's just too much of an easy way to counter her one non-M1 power. And honestly, we need to fix that.
Right, and I mean, now we got Doctor. Doctor's high point is the obvious, vault cancel. You're not allowed to vault. You can't do that. Low point, ain't nobody got time to learn Doctor to time that.
Personally, high point, I have over 400 hours, and I've played more Survivor in those 400 hours than I have Killer. And more recent, I've been getting into Killer, and I just absolutely love playing Doctor. Sorry for anyone who hates Doctor mains. But yeah, no, I love playing Doctor because I feel like it's a very good balance of I actually learn a power and my perks do things. I'm not just like solely, hoping that my powers is going to win me the match. Low point, honestly, I feel like he's a pretty okay, if not good killer. And he has literally like no freaking skins. Give Doctor more skins. We need more Rift skins for Doctor.
I mean, we got Bubba next. Who can ever hate a Bubba player? I mean, the high point, you gotta, the new saying, Bubba goes where Bubba pleases, down everyone in one single activation. Or you also got Basement Bubba, because, you can't be Bubba without being a little cutie. Low point, you go up against one team who doesn't suck, you're going to get slapped if you're not, Epidemic or something.
For me, Bubba, a high point, just, I gotta be I gotta be that person. High point, Epi. Honestly, just watching Epi. He's just a whole different creature with Bubba. Low point is they keep doing little tweaks to Bubba, and the tweaks don't really do anything. So, let's actually do something, or let's just leave the poor man alone. Alright, next up, Huntress.
I personally am and have been a Huntress main for 5 years. Somehow I have projectedly gotten worse at Huntress. But the obvious high point is Eerie Head Wooden Fox, because, who doesn't love being undetectable for the entire match? And sneakily one-tapping everybody. It's just fun. A low point, you miss ever. In fact, you'll miss the most easy shots of your life, and you'll just cringe at yourself. And you'll deserve it, because the shot was probably free.
For me, high point is she has a very interesting lore backstory. And honestly, she can have her own movie created about her if DBD really wanted to. Low point, I don't know. She, again, is just there's just not enough going on with her for it to be fun in many levels besides comp DBD or really high MMR Iridescent 1 kind of level lobbies, because those are obviously cracked out Huntress mains. If you're not going against one of those, she's kind of just low-key boring, not gonna lie.
Oh my god, then we got Freddy, the underdog himself that still doesn't get played ever. High point, now you can use both palette and the little blood trail thing. A low point, no one uses both. They still only use one of them, even though they can use both now. They just don't. That's not how this works.
High point for me would be, he's got multiple things going on, so it's pretty interesting. When you're going, obviously, 1v4, you kind of can keep multiple survivors doing stuff. And he's pretty interesting to learn how to play because he has so much going on. Low point, he's just not played enough, and he wasn't given enough of like a marketing and enough of a good reputation from the very beginning that people honestly just tend to forget that he's in the game. And we just kind of need to give him, a little bit more. He deserves more. He deserves better from us, to be honest. All right, next we have the pig.
High point. Obviously, it's going to be either Boop the Snoot or Nerf Big. You can't lose with those. Low point, getting really unlucky with your head traps and they get them off on first try. That's like the worst feeling of all time. You want to watch them struggle. And when you watch them go to one box and they take it off, you just want to cry. You almost want to use another one of your head traps on that one person just to make them suffer.
Yeah, I would say best thing would be obviously Boop the Snoot. But another thing, it's just kind of like the head trap aspect. I really appreciate like DBD actually bringing real soft things into the game. The low point is that we don't do more with the head traps. I feel like the head traps and the boxes could be like a really great opportunity to like go really far and beyond with this power. And DBD just hasn't wanted to explore that, if that makes sense. But yeah, I feel like she could definitely use some more interesting things with that aspect of her power.
It's also really funny to prank your friends by popping a gen after they get a head trap. It's really funny to watch them get mad at you when you activate their head trap on purpose.
Yeah, I would say that's another low point, honestly, I guess, on the Survivor side. For me, for a very long time, being a new person, I did not understand that popping a gen activates head traps. So it would be kind of nice, I don't know, to have a little bit more of like potentially a manual, so to speak, maybe somewhere in DVD or something where it's like, hey, by the way, if you're new and you're only playing Survivor, here are some things you should like, I don't know, be aware of. Popping that gen will indeed, start those head traps. Anyways, on to the clown.
Man, I mean, I just don't like clown personally. But I mean, high point, you get a speed boost. You got the fun laugh. Low point, this is the same answer. The high point and the low point are the same thing. I don't know. It's fun to play, but it's really annoying to go against.
For me, for clown, best thing for him, I don't know. I love the cool aspect of the bottles. You have one that gives you speed. You have one that slows down everyone else. It's kind of nice because it's two things you don't have to worry about in your perk build. So you can really open up your perk build when you're playing killer, which is not something that you get to do a lot. My low point is with clown and just like the aspect of having a quote unquote clown in the game. They could have gone so cool on a clown themed map, like a full circus kind of map, that they kind of really missed out on that. So I would say that that's my low point for a clown. Yeah, so let's transition over to Spirit.
I'd say that my high point is that for the short time that I was attempting to start maining her, it's like really funny to just like slap someone directly out of a phase. It just feels like you're better than that player by a lot. The worst part is when the survivor just keeps running and you don't notice, and you unphase thinking you're gonna whack them, and then you look over and they're like across the map from you, and you just that's just the worst.
For me, I'm not going much into mechanics because I haven't personally played a lot of Spirit, but my high point would be just kind of like her entire lore and how she came to be. I love Japanese folktale and myths and all that. So just her origin is really cool. Her low point is the fact that Jesus Christ, it is so annoying to listen to just Spirit as a whole. Every noise that Spirit makes as a survivor, it just makes me want to like DC the match. She just gets annoying, especially in 2v8.
Yeah, you're definitely going to want to DC against this next killer, Legion. Easily one of the most hated killers in the entire game. Just not because he's overpowered, not anything like that. He's just annoying. That's all he is. His high point, obviously, it's hitting the 5-man and getting the down. Low point, just playing Legion in general. I mean, you can do the cancel on his power. That's a cool thing, but if you don't do that and you just kind of use it to whack survivors once and then leave, then it's just kind of boring, in my opinion.
Yeah, for Legion, I gotta say, high point. Thank you, community, for pushing hard enough for him to be removed from 2v8. That was straight up stupid. This killer should have never been brought into 2v8. Those were the worst edition of 2v8s I've ever played in my life. Thank God he is gone. 2v8 feels a little bit more balanced and fair now. Low point of Legion is, why the hell would we ever promote this gameplay? Yes, we're all doing our own thing. This thing pops up, hits you once, leaves you alone, you mend. Oh wait, he's back. And we're gonna continue doing this till we hopefully pop off 5 gens. Why? We saw hour-long matches with Skull Merchant. This is like, we're trying to revive that again. Anyways, enough with Legion. We're gonna go over to the Plague.
I personally have not played a ton of Plague. I just know that people don't like her. I don't particularly like her. Her high point, I'd say, is getting multiple of the, little cleansing things going all at once, so you can just get your power going for a full, 3-4 downs if you get lucky. Low point, probably the same low point as everyone else, the constant vomiting. I'm sure that there is a very large amount of people who get genuinely sick from that noise, and I can see why. I don't know how Plague mains do it, if there be any of them.
For me, Plague high point is honestly how both, in a way, my personal opinion, from watching and kind of playing her, she can be a good killer for those people who are not, just downloaded the game, but are not, thousands of hours in. But she can also be a very good killer for those who have been playing this game for thousands of hours. She's a very good, you can either use her base power and not really think about it much, or you can do your PhD in the Plague. Low point is, she is such a cool killer. Just as look-wise, she really needs more cosmetics. I personally feel like a lot more people would play her if we just got more cosmetics, and she definitely got some cool opportunities for cosmetics, especially within her lore and all that. I'm transitioning over to the ghost phase.
All right, let me preface this by saying I may single-handedly be the worst Ghostface player who has ever played this game. I have literally, out of every match I've ever played, I have never won a single match. It genuinely feels like every time I play Ghostface, the survivors are just gods who can see through walls. and they just know where I'm at. The high point, I mean, it's obviously the 4-man mark. I mean, if you ever get that done, you might actually finish right there. But if you know, get spotted every single time you ever attempt to mark anyone, it gets fairly aggravating. That's just how it feels for me. I so rarely get anything done with Ghostface.
For me, a low point with Ghostface is honestly, why the heck have we not tried harder to get the 2 original Ghostfaces to make some very nice Ghostface lines? I really, 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 really would love some Ghostface lines. As someone who grew up watching the Scream franchise, it would just be really nice to have the 2 originals. Aside from that, I'd say a really good point is it's freaking Ghostface, guys. Like, come on. This is one of the people who... This is one of the characters that really started the horror franchise just as a whole. Like, the horror genre, I feel like Ghostface is one of the reasons why we have this. So, I don't know. I feel like Dead by Daylight is kind of a tribute to just the horror scene as a whole. And we can do so much more with Ghostface. It would be kind of really cool to have some sort of like Ghostface thing where we have, I don't know, where there might be like a mode, like a special Ghostface game mode where we can adapt the original 2 Ghostface faces, and then you can switch between playing each version. I don't know. I feel like there's just a really cool opportunity with that. So yeah.
Alright, now we're on to the Demogorgon. I mean, I'd say an upside, I just find his, like, dash attack to be really fun. Especially when you get some pretty good hits with it. The downside is, I wish there was more versatility with, like, the portals. It just doesn't feel... It feels like you either use them a lot or you don't use them at all. So, I don't know.
Yeah, for me on demo, I would say upside. It's really nice to just have something from Stranger Things in the game. It's pretty nice to have like a very, 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 very accurate depiction of Demo. I wish he was a bit taller, like a little bit more like it is in the actual show. And I really like the fact that there is portals, but again, I would think that they should really be worked on. And I just really wish that he came with like a more map that like depicted the upside down a bit better, or that he could potentially put portals like on walls, you know, since sometimes they open up on walls or ceilings. That would be kind of like an interesting mechanic to see brought to DBD, not just portals on the floors, but more like throughout the whole map. And now we're transitioning over to the Oni.
I mean, I don't play this killer that often, but I don't know. I mean, it's kind of fun to learn to do the dash attack, but I'd also say the downside is it's really annoying when you play against an Oni and they're just like insane with it.
Yeah, so for me, an upside or like the best thing about Oni is just how cool, I would say. Like, they kind of brought this idea and they gave it a pretty interesting spin in Dead by Daylight. Worst thing is just, I think compared to like other killers and adding like a sub idea to add to this, specifically even more into V8, I think he just gets his power too easily and too frequently. And sometimes it's just, you know, it's just kind of hard. Like, I feel like Oni a good balance, especially to him getting his power so frequently, is him being forced to play maybe on like bigger maps where it takes him longer and he has more things that he has to like try to, swing through and all those things. So the survivors actually have a chance to not get hit or pay the price of his power ups occurring so frequently. So yeah.
Now on to Deathslinger. I personally just find him enjoyable. I mean, you can obviously shoot the harpoon gun. I feel like the downside is just obviously missing with your harpoon gun. Every time you miss, it just sucks because you have to reload and all that.
For me, Deathslinger, I think his upside is that he's a very cool, interesting killer. He's probably underrated, especially like lore wise. A lot of people are like, that's just Deathslinger. Like, not a lot of people like really give him that much credit, but I feel like he totally is super cool, and I feel like he deserves kind of like we just saw Trickster come back. I feel like he deserves a comeback. Like, he definitely, even right now, no fixes, no anything. He needs more marketing, if that makes sense. He needs like events or something. So that's my plus for him. The negative for him is just, again, to a certain extent, like Huntress. Yes, they have their M1 weapons, but then they have one thing, and unless they kind of become God with it to a certain extent, it's kind of hard to successfully do it. So it just kind of makes them underplayed and underseen, and a lot of survivors don't like them just because it kind of feels quote unquote boring to play them or to play against them. So yeah, moving on to Pyramid Head. A positive for Pyramid Head is, well, it's Pyramid Head, and I love the fact that we don't have just like the standard hook idea. Pyramid Head, brings the cage as well, so that's pretty interesting. A downside, I would say, maybe this might be a little weird, and I know, again, things need to be fixed because this is a video game and all that, but it's kind of sad not seeing Pyramid Head at his normal height, so to speak. It would be really nice if he was a little bit more height cannon, if that makes sense, in game. Especially since we already have tall killers. There's no reason why he should have been made as short as he is. He could have at least minimum been made as tall as Nemi, I would say. Yeah, I'm going to hand it over to my co-host to say his thoughts on Pyramid Head.
Yeah, I'm not good at Pyramid Head either, not gonna lie. I'd say upside is you can like hit multiple survivors, so there's just the chance of having a multi down. And then, I mean, obviously snipers, those are very funny if you can actually hit them. I'd say downside is just, I don't know, he's very underplayed. You never see Pyramid Heads, and when you do, they're usually very good at hitting you through walls and just knowing kind of where you are.
Yeah, so we're gonna wrap this episode up with the Blight. For me, I feel like Blight is a very cool idea, and he has a really cool concept and really cool power. I just feel like, again, like Nurse to a certain extent, he's just not very beginner player friendly, especially if, say for example, like you come into this game and you're like, I've never played a game like this, and I'm just gonna hop on some Blight. You're not gonna do well. You're gonna struggle very badly. And I feel like to a certain extent, even nowadays, even the professional Blight players at times are like, I don't even know what's going on. So, I would say that's the downside to Blight. But again, his good thing is like, he has such an amazing lore, and I wish we explored his lore more actively in game, not just through tomes or just, from hearing it, but like that there would be active in-game things that would give us his lore specifically, because he has one of the dopest lores in the whole game. It would be super cool to have some sort of like, I think Blight could have an event where for potentially like survivors could pick up a little vial of Blight serum and then inject themselves and then be interacting throughout the match with those cool, interesting aspects. I don't know. It would just be kind of cool to see, more on the Blight side. And it's kind of cool how he has started this whole revolutionary kind of like motion and timeline of every killer getting eventually a Blight skin and survivors sometimes getting their own blighted version and all of that. So, yeah, that's my personal viewpoint on Blight.
I personally love Blight. I mained him for a while. I don't know. He's got the dash attack. I mean, it's really nice when you can hit like a max bounce hit or just anything that's just a lot of distance to actually hit. Those are pretty fun. But a downside is just if you're going against someone who really knows what they're doing, I mean, you're going to lose that even with dashes, and he's also very map dependent. If you end up on a map that he can't compete on, then you're just going to kind of lose.
So yeah, ending this episode, we kind of just wanted to take a sec and kind of let everyone know that this was a very quick episode. We kind of just wanted to explore this concept of sitting down and sharing our opinions and not just overwhelming you guys with straight up hard facts. And we will have a part 2 where we kind of talk about twins to the first. But we hope that you guys enjoyed this, and we will have more of this format coming out soon. We are hoping to have a bit of a Q&A about our experience in Dead by Daylight and how we feel about the game as a whole and more specific aspects with a guest speaker, hopefully, joining us in that episode. So yeah, I hope you guys kind of love this, and obviously we have way deeper, more concise opinions about each killer. We just kind of wanted to come up with something quick and easy for you guys to kind of digest. So with that, thank you for joining us here at Exploring the Entity. Again, we're very thankful for each of you guys, deadlings, and please bear with us while we try to figure all of this out. And make sure to follow us on Instagram at Exploring the Entity, and check us out on the visual side on YouTube at Exploring the Entity DVD. And with some exciting news here soon, we will be publishing our website to go on with our podcast, and we will have some cool features coming to that as well. And one of the very important things is we'll have a section where we kind of want to hear from you guys of potential episode ideas or just questions you guys have for us and all that. And until next time, deadlings, keep your eyes on the shadows, listen for the claws, because the fog doesn't just surround you, it waits for you.